the $6 billion in funds that Joe Biden and the Democrats freed up as part of the prisoner swap. Joining me right now is Florida Congressman Carlos Gimenez. He's a member of the House Armed Services and Homeland Security Committees. Congressman, thanks very much for being here this morning. I was just reading your tweet on X where you said we are not going to be bullied by thugs who are telling us that they are calling for a day of jihad today.
Yeah, and we won't be bullied, and we're going to live our lives the way we normally live our lives, but we should be a little bit more cognizant of what's going on around us. I know that I called back home and talked to law enforcement agencies. They have beefed up, law enforcement in Miami and Miami-Dade County. The EOCs are open just to make sure that everybody is safe, but we should live our normal lives, but be a little bit more aware of what's going on around you.
Congressman, what are we going to do about the hostages? What are we going to do about getting people out of Israel who might be in harm's way? We spoke with Congressman Corey Mills earlier today, who was able to evacuate 77 people. And we're told that the administration is now putting together charter flights to take people home. This is a week into this. Is this just starting today?
Yep, this shows the incompetency of this particular administration. It shows the incompetency all the way around. Look, now they're going to freeze the $6 billion that they were going to unfreeze for Iran. But look, the problem isn't just the $6 billion. The problem is that we've been lax. This administration has been lax in the sanctions, and Iran's oil revenues have skyrocketed some 70%. That directly funds these kinds of activities, Hamas, Hezbollah. And so we're seeing the results of weakness around the world. I don't think it's any coincidence that we see Russia in Ukraine and now we see Hamas in Israel. And hopefully that's only Hamas and hopefully not Hezbollah or any other nation, trying to take advantage of the situation. But again, it's just this weakness of this administration is allowing all this to happen.
Well, what about Hezbollah and other regional actors? How worried are you that this war widens out, broadens? Do you have confidence that Israel can, in fact, wipe out Hamas?
I have confidence that Israel can wipe out Hamas because if you've ever been to the Gaza Strip, it is literally a strip. If you stand on a 100-foot hill outside of Gaza, you can actually see the Mediterranean. It's really a small piece of land. There's a lot of people in there. But yeah, I have confidence that Israel will be able to wipe out Hamas. Now, Hezbollah on the north, they've got some reports say they have well over 100,000 rockets, a little bit better entrenched, different geography, not quite as easy. But I also know that, or I'm pretty sure that the Israelis know the threat from Hezbollah, and they've already beefed up their forces up there to guard against any kind of attack from Hezbollah. But yeah, I'm concerned about that too.
Well, you're on Armed Services and Homeland Security Committees. How did they get 100,000 rockets? These are terrorists.
Absolutely, but this is Iran that gives them all the support that they need to create the rockets. They also have some more advanced technology, some more advanced weaponry. They've got these drones, and that's the lessons of the Ukraine war. A lot of this stuff is being done with cheap, there are cheap ways to, it's called asymmetrical warfare, where there are cheap things that take out expensive things. And they've learned this from Ukraine, and so they've got drones and they've got other, more advanced weapons up there, and that this is Iran funding the entire operation. And so Iran is the cancer of the Middle East. We need to take care of Iran. We can't coddle Iran. We have to get stronger with Iran. We have to place more sanctions against Iran to really cripple them and cripple their economy, because we let them go, they're going to continue to fund these terrorist groups that their sole aim is the destruction of Israel, and we can never, never let that happen.
Well, unfortunately, this is exactly what the administration has been doing, coddling Iran from day one. Meanwhile, you are without a speaker. I know that Kevin McCarthy was recently in Israel. He led a delegation to Israel, met with the leadership there, came out with a 5-point plan for the U.S., with the priority being those hostages. Now, Louisiana Congressman Steve Scalise is withdrawing from the House Speaker's vote, Congressman. You're still backing Kevin McCarthy to be Speaker, right?
100%. I want, look, if you listen to Kevin McCarthy's words, he said he doesn't want to be nominated, but he's also said he was willing to abide by the will of the conference. It's time for the conference to draft Kevin McCarthy. The way we got, and the way to get out of this is just get out of here. In other words, let's follow the path of how we got to where we are, back out, and that path leads to Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. We need our leader back. We need our Speaker back. And we need to move forward with the business of America. And we also need to move forward with the business of America helping Israel fight Hamas.
Here's Kevin McCarthy last night. Let's take a look.
It's 4% of the conference with all the Democrats that want this chaos. So the Democrats own it as much as anybody else. They decide. At the same time, their speaker at the time told me, as she told the other Republican speaker, oh, the motion to vacate, don't worry about that. We don't believe in chaos.
So, Congressman, where are the votes? I mean, realistically speaking, if you can't get Kevin McCarthy back in place, who could get the votes, knowing that the Democrats are not going to vote for any of your guys?
Look, I don't think at this point, look, obviously Steve Scalise already proved that he couldn't get to 217. Jim Jordan is a fine gentleman. I like Jim Jordan, but I don't think he's going to get to 217. The only one that has a shot at getting to 217 is Kevin McCarthy, and we were 8 votes short of getting to 217. And so, look, again, we need to draft Kevin McCarthy. We need to solve the problems inside the conference that we have. 96% of us wanted to maintain Kevin McCarthy. We got 4%, basically 8 people that said no in our own party, along with 208 of the Democrats. So, look, I think we need to go back, take it to the floor. Let's have the floor fight. But our nominee, the person we need to get back in that seat is Kevin McCarthy. That's why I'm only going to vote for Kevin McCarthy. And hopefully that's the end results. Kevin McCarthy back as Speaker of the House.
Oh, okay, but how long can this stalemate go on, Congressman? What are you at now? 28 days until the government runs out of money again?
No, right. And so, the excuse that was given to oust Kevin McCarthy was that we were going to go into we weren't going to be able to get our funding done. We're going to get our appropriation bills done. And so now, putting Kevin McCarthy out of office is leading us into this situation. We need to put him back ASAP.
Thank you, Congressman Carlos Gimenez, joining us this morning.